Hi, my name is Giselle Thompson, and I'm hosting the speaker series Live the Life That You Want. Here, you'll learn strategies and practical ideas on how to overcome adversity, be happy, and live the life of your dreams. Myself, I was in a bit of a dark place several years ago, and I learned different things that helped me overcome that. And I'm on the path of living the things that really make me happy now. And I wanted to share with people ideas that they could learn from myself and from many other experts who have lived these things and have overcome their own challenges to share with others ideas and strategies. Today I'm interviewing Birgit Pestalozzi. She's a wonderful woman. She is very experienced in love and relationships. And I'll just tell you a little bit more about her and then tell you why I decided that I wanted to work with Birgit. She's born and lives in Switzerland, and she'll tell you more about that, about being location independent. But she used to work in a corporate job with Ernst & Young, but eventually, after an accident with her horse, she decided that life was too short and she needed to really get on with doing things that made her happy. And so she became a relationship coach, and she's also director for a nonprofit where they empower the youth in Sudan. So very exciting things. Birgit shared with me that she always had a desire to start a family that unfortunately was thwarted by miscarriages. And through the experiences with her long-term relationship and her current relationship now, she learned a lot about relationships and love. And she promised herself that she wanted to share her knowledge with as many people as possible to help them avoid making the same mistakes. So after lots of self-development, she was able to articulate her needs and create a relationship that really fits with her and her vision, her life purpose. And it's very exciting to have Birgit here. I picked to work with Birgit because she's living the life of her dreams. She is traveling around, doing her business, going where she pleases, when she pleases, which is something I aspire to do someday. So welcome, Birgit.
Thank you so much, Giselle. What a nice introduction.
You're welcome. So today, Birgit is going to focus on the aspect of relationships and love, and in particular, focusing on some of the brain and how the brain actually influences our emotions, and some of the stuff around if we want to live the life of our dreams, sometimes we have to make big decisions. So I'm just going to start with our first question, and then I'll leave it to Birgit to respond. And I will, if there are points of clarification, I will ask them. And if not, then we'll just listen to her wonderful experiences and her advice and suggestions. So Birgit, what did you learn about yourself when you decided and began to live the life of your dreams? What practical steps did you take to get to where you are now?
Okay, that's an interesting question, Giselle. So I would say the very first thing I learned, and when we talk about when I decided to take a step, that's always the moment I remember when I had the accident with my horse. That was really my wake-up call, and I was in a hospital, and I was not sad or worried or something. I was just ecstatic, like getting a second chance in life. It could have easily been my last day there. And yeah, I'm seriously thankful for that happening. I got out lucky. So it was everything with my face, and they managed that no one really knows. They see me, but it happened. So I'm referring to this turning point in my life. And what I learned first was that I don't want to spend my energy in life on fulfilling someone else's dream. And that was totally evident at that moment. When I realized what I do when I go into the rat race, into corporate every day, so much of my life energy goes to someone else's dream. And not only my energy during the weekend, I was exhausted. So that one kind of also goes on the account of someone else's dream. So what I learned then is that I was following, first of all, I didn't know the why in my life. So why do I get up in the morning? And what really makes me happy and what drives me in my life. So I never reflected on that. I'd always just followed the reasonable path in a way, like what you should do and be on the safe side. So I learned that my why in my life is freedom. And not status and not security. So you could kind of cook it down to those three, the why of someone in someone's life. And as soon as I realized that my why is freedom, that means every decision I take should fit to, does it bring me freedom or does it take away my freedom? So whenever I was reflecting on that, and I realized the past years following this corporate path was more status and security. So that's what I learned. That's what I learned most of all is I didn't know why. And when I found out my why, I realized I was following the wrong path, basically. Does it make sense to you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So people should think about, the listener should be thinking about, what's my why?
Yes.
And then just a little bit at a time, chipping away a little bit at a time at making the decisions that line them up with that why. And you mentioned something about big decisions.
Yes.
You were talking to me about that a little bit, that you wanted to talk about that. Does that fit here?
Right. Yeah, that fits totally. So the big decisions, so of course the why helps you to take the right decisions. And yeah, there's big decisions like for me, leaving the corporate world, it was a really well-going career and everything. So, but I left that. That was a big decision. And another big decision is also probably one of the biggest decisions is the right partner in your life. They say it's like 70% of your happiness is dependent on how happy you are with your partner in life. And so that's another big decision. And what helped me a lot, and what I learned, that was like 2014, is so I was always a person having difficulties making a decision.
Oh yeah.
And I also found, a lot. So I think it was because it was a fear of taking the wrong decision, and ultimately it was a fear that I take a decision that maybe doesn't fit into society, and ultimately I would not be part of the tribe anymore. You know, I'm a big believer that we still are driven by instinct more than we think. So it's still about survival and tribe, and so wanting to be in our tribe. So I always had troubles taking decisions, and I stayed too long in comfort zones. And so I learned that there's a system you can use. And I think you always also mentioned to me it would be good to have hands-on advice in all right. So there's this yes, hell no approach. I don't know if you've heard about it. So basically, make an internal check whenever there's a decision coming up. And if your mind says yes, do it. And if your intuition says yes, do it. And if your emotion says hell no, then do it.
that before.
See?
So you're freaking out.
Because
Else is lining up.
emotion is the fear part. And on the other hand, if we go through these 3 simple checklists, and maybe it's hell no, yes, yes, that would mean mind says no, intuition says yes, and emotion says yes, then I should not do it. So at least, both mind and intuition should both be on yes.
Okay.
Do it, otherwise don't do it. And that helped me to take big decisions in life.
That's good. That's simple. So mind, yes. Intuition, yes. And
emotion is usually something you can feel in your body.
I'm scared. I don't know if it's going to work out.
Exactly.
Okay. So that one is still okay. Go.
Yeah. Let me that's the concept of his name is Wither. So I don't know how you Brian Betten.
Okay.
He created that concept. So that's a hands-on advice from my side.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Are you ready for the next question?
Sure.
Okay.
So, you also asked me what practical steps did I take?
Yes. I think you talked about it, but did you have something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think, it comes with the yes, yes, hell no, is, crushing your comfort zone.
Okay.
And so that is super important. And so I created my program for comfort zone crushing, which I also use for my clients now. And it involves all parts. So I use my body, for example, to bring me in a higher self.
Okay.
And like really high vibe activities.
Okay.
And meditation, affirmations, listening to high vibe music as well. So I was always the one listening. I chose my music according to my mood. So I was more on the Nora Jones, like really soft, jazzy. And then I realized I can use music to bring me into another level, and I should not enforce with my selection of music the state I'm in. So it should be the other way around. Make a conscious decision. Just be conscious about it and know that you can influence the way you feel through outward actions.
Okay.
One other really, really good advice, and maybe some listeners or watchers, they know it. It's super simple, like the power pose, so when you just, stretch up your arms like this, that's something that, exactly. So athletes do this, for example, and even they found out, like, athletes who cannot see, they never saw this in another athlete when they win, but, in the Paralympics, when they win, they do the same. And so we signal our body something great happened. And then he starts to release the hormones according to something great. And then we're happier. So if you just use the power pose and even maybe do something, yes, 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 that works.
And you do this with your clients and you find that it really helps them.
Yes, it helps a lot. So I do it in the beginning of a session as a grounding exercise, and I give them also lots of similar exercises to do on their own, and they can choose them when they prefer. But they're like really 100% effect.
It's incredible how much we can influence our mind with our body to realign.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
But also how much our body, our mind and our emotions can affect our body. When we feel sad, we curl up, but it's very powerful to find out that you can reverse it. It doesn't have to go one way. It can go the other way too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
It's interesting what you mentioned with the curling up. What I heard the other day, which is interesting, when we are on our phones, iPhones or whatever phone, we have the position of curling up, like we're like crunched a little bit forward, leaning forward and looking at our phones. And this could also result in a lower mood, because it's our whole body posture implies that you're not doing well.
So you'd have to.
So maybe we should put our phones. Yeah.
Do the power pose with your iPhone.
Yeah.
Or just stretch once in a while.
Yes, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Be aware. I mean, awareness is everything, right?
Yeah, for sure. So is it okay to move on to the next question? Okay.
The timing I leave to you. I could talk forever. There's so many interesting things.
That's wonderful. We'll have to do another one. So I'm noticing it's a two-part question. So I think I'll say both questions, and then I'll repeat the first one so it can help you focus on it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So how has what you went through helped you be happier in your life now? And how has it helped you and your clients appreciate about the essence of love and relationships? So the first one, how has what you went through helped you be happier in your life now?
Mm-hmm. Of course, I think it's first of all obvious that we all experience when we grow older, and hopefully wiser, not only older, that we survive even the worst situation. I mean, eventually at the end of the life we don't survive. I mean, just one of my favorite quotes is, life is full of misery. Most of it never happens. So I learned that there's really bad things happen to us, and then maybe we start to anticipate more bad things. But there's also the chance that our brain starts to create too much fear. And when we look back, then the things did not turn out that bad. Of course, there are, as I mentioned, there are really sad things in our lives. And the adversity you have in your title as well, I experienced them as well in my life. And from the combination of what my path was with my self-development, when I went, for example, a life-changing thing was going to the ashram in India. So there I learned that it's not the situation actually, but it's our reaction to it, and that we can again influence it. So when you ask me how has it helped me, what I went through is it made me stronger. Those were the moments when I developed myself the most. And of course lots of gratefulness, and it sounds maybe a bit awkward, but seeing others maybe having huge, or how do you say, bigger adversities and still coping really well with life, then that always got me in the victim zone. So it's not, I cannot say it helped me in these 3 points. I can more describe it that, okay, I know I'm going to survive, and I have more resources within myself than I think, and it is important to have a support system. Humans are, I think, tribal people and not lone wolves, and to embrace the fear as well, not fight the fear, embrace it and integrate it in your life. Basically this, and with knowing, I've experienced, death and huge disappointments, and somehow I think there's not much more that could, knock me down. I hope that answers the question.
No, that's good. And you talked about embracing the fear, not resisting it. Do you have, I imagine you've probably developed a few practical exercises for yourself and for your clients. Do you have anything you might be able to share?
So with the fear, I mean, there's no cure for the fear. But again, here, knowing how our brain works and why do we create fear. Fear is only a way of our mind to protect ourselves. So that alone maybe helps us to be, how do you say, come in peace?
To be peaceful?
Be more understanding towards fear.
Okay.
It's not the enemy, but it tries to protect us from the evil tiger in the jungle, kind of, so make it your friend, the fear. And also start talking to it and maybe say, thank you for protecting me. But at the moment I'm fine. You may go into your cave and rest a little bit. I'm fine.
Whatever works.
Exactly.
You found that worked for you?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
That's good. That's awesome. I think fear is, it's one of those things that if you're not aware of it, you don't understand the extent to which it is consuming your life, and it informs all your decisions. And if you're not aware how it shows up in your life, then it's really hard to break free. It's worry is a form of fear, right?
Yes.
Anticipating everything that could go wrong is a form of fear.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's another really easy advice is imagine a cat, for example. So then if you have fear, then ask yourself, would that cat have the same fear right now? And because cats or dogs, their only fear is food and maybe enemies, but not the kind of fear we create in our mind with what if, and the cat does not understand this kind of fear. They would say, what if I lose my job, then I will lose my house and so on. The cat says, where's the problem? You have food right now. So it doesn't mean that the self-produced fear is not real, but it helps you challenge it a little bit.
Channel it, yeah.
I really like what you said. You're so right with otherwise it consumes us.
Yes, and it's so it's sneaky.
Yes, and you mentioned in the beginning that I'm really fascinated about the brain and its plastic, so it's plasticity, right? So the brain tries to reduce complexity. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. Complexity, yep.
And so that's also saying it. What fires together, wires together. That means we have a certain amount of connections in our brain. And whenever there's a new impulse coming, our brain checks where would it fit, and then it fires with this existing one. And the more it fires with the same one, the stronger this bond gets. And so if we think more in fear, then of course when a new impulse comes, it's directly labeled as in a fear zone.
So it gets bigger and bigger.
Yes.
Fear, because that's what's strong.
Exactly.
So
but the good news is it's plastic. So in a way, it's formable, it's changeable. So when we know about this, and that's the big guru about that is Joe Dispenza, which I can very much recommend. It's a life-changing book from Joe Dispenza, how to take influence. And it takes about 30 days to start changing your connection to the brain.
Just 30 days?
Yes. Some say it's 1 day, some say it's 30 days.
So I wonder if the whole thing around, it only takes 21 days to change your habit, if that's part of it.
That's exactly it, Giselle, yes.
Oh, it is, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I think that's a good segue into the second question of question 2. How has it helped you help you and your clients appreciate? Sorry, that there's a word missing. What has it helped you and your clients appreciate about the essence of love and relationships?
Yes, I really love that question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I always love the word essence, because that's exactly, I think you just nailed it with the essence. Looking at the essence of a person's soul, I think is that's almost the answer to this question as well. That's what it's all about. And overcoming adversities myself and being very imperfect myself with my fears and what happened, and so that taught me that everyone else, it taught me not to strive for perfection in a relationship. In the contrary, it taught me to also to embrace the imperfections in the other person, and to be very compassionate that the other person also has its journey and fears. And once I realized this, then, it takes away a lot of blaming or the expectation towards the other. There's, for example, there are like,
okay.
I always go through 14 dating traps, for example, when you date. And one trap is the rescue trap. So you want the other person to rescue you in your life. But that's a trap because it's your own job. So basically learning that others also have fears, and they do their best, and be compassionate about them. And one important thing I also want to share is don't expect the other person to make you happy. That's also why I think the happy heart, that's why I'm called the happy heart coach, because that's the start, right? So first have a happy heart and then have a happy relationship, not the other way around.
Right.
And so you could easily remember this by saying, instead of saying, I want you to make me happy, rather say, I am happy and I want to share my happiness with you.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good, that always helped me myself.
And then it's easy to find dates. No. It's so, I mean, I'm being silly, but it's just when you see a person who's really happy in their heart, it's just easy to be around them.
Yes.
Easy to be friends. It's, right? You feel accepted by them. There's no pressure. There's no judgment. There's, it's just comfortable. And I guess that's what you're saying is if you're happy in your heart, you do all that work to be happy in your heart. Then when you find that relationship that's the match for you, it's just an easy next step.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's not that when you see someone happy, as you described it very well, then you think, well, no wonder this person is happy, he or she has everything she wants. But that's, again, the other way around. Because she's happy, she has everything she wants. Not because she has everything she wants, she's happy.
Yeah.
Many times I got that lesson when I met a happy person, but then afterwards I learned what this person went through, and then I was amazed. I thought, she's still so happy. And I realized happiness
in her heart. Yeah. And I imagine, like I know in your case, you made a big decision to leave a long-term relationship, and I can't imagine that was easy. And with your clients, I imagine some that happens, and then some decide to stay with their partner. So you shared with us a lot what happens when you have to make that decision, that big decision to go. But it's also can be a big decision to stay and be happy in your heart. Like, so what has your experience been with clients who make the big decision to stay?
Oh, yes. That's just really, really good point. So usually, making the big decision to stay, that is the best decision almost you can make. Not always, but it's in most of the cases, because that's when you start to work on yourself. Otherwise, it might be that you just, change the scenery, but you along, and then you repeat the patterns. And so making the decision to stay, if someone maybe wants to know when should I leave and when should I stay, my answer to this is when you can feel that the other person is willing also to develop themselves, then there's a potential. That's all it needs, basically.
Yeah.
And everything else can be worked on. And if one of the two just blocks every little development or willingness to grow and to maybe also, look into themselves, then that would be the moment to leave. But otherwise, and like in most of the cases, there's lots of reasons to stay. And there's another book I really love, and it's called Love Yourself and It Doesn't Matter Whom You Marry, which is very radical, of course. Yeah.
I guess so, eh? But like you said, it depends if the other person wants to develop too, if they want to evolve, or if they want to stay with their fear.
Exactly, and if they want to evolve, then it gets really interesting, because we are the mirrors. The partner is the mirror for all our dark sides, and
that's true, eh?
Yeah, and that's so interesting.
So actually, could you tell us a little bit about that, about the mirror of us?
Yeah. So whenever something really hits you, that's only because there's a true side inside of you, and it's much easier. And I also think that when we were children, everyone of us have, even with the most perfect childhood, we all have little traumas inside of us. That could even go so far that you were on a maybe playground with your sibling, and the sibling fell down, and the parents shouted at you and said, "Why didn't you watch out for her?" And then you saved it here as fun means punishment. Really extreme how our brain works. So coming from that with the mirroring, so we have our when we got hurt as a child, and this little side on us maybe stopped growing, because as a child we don't have the coping mechanism to handle emotional hurt. So this side of us just stops growing. And we're like a huge family inside of us. And some of us are teenagers, toddlers, or adults. So when we have a partner, and it triggers some aspects and really gets on our nerves, so then it's super interesting to look inside of ourselves and do some work and see, could it be that it's something that I stopped growing there, and now I'm reacting like a toddler to that, with the emotional how do you say it? Emotional level of a toddler. And
that must be hard to look at and accept. And
very hard, but super, super interesting. And then all of a sudden the partner becomes your biggest teacher, because there's also aspects on your partner that they don't get on your nerves, but they could, but they don't. That means they don't fit to any of your hidden past maybe wounds you have. So that's always a sign. If it gets on your nerves, then it means maybe that you yourself are too strict with yourself with that. If someone always late, then it could be that you were once also blamed to be late or whatever. So it's really just, if something gets on your nerves, almost embrace it and say, cool, another message.
Something else to work on. Add it to the list.
Yeah. and then it becomes fun. And also,
yeah.
When you mentioned when to leave or taking the decision to leave, also what I really want to share here is don't leave at the wrong moment. Imagine the relationship being like maybe a planet, and there's an ellipse around the planet, and both partners they orbit around this planet, and because it's an ellipse, sometimes we are really the farthest away from each other, and the gravity is also very low there, and that will be most of people let go there and they leave each other. But there's always this phase coming back when you're really close again, and then it's like a honeymoon again, and then maybe again, and just don't let go at this point. Wait until it's here, and if it's still not good, then you can still let go.
Yeah. And this, of course, is because the person wants to evolve and it's a healthy relationship, or if you're in an unsafe relationship, then of course it's hard to leave, but it's important for your safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always needs to be, the context is always important, of course.
Yes, of course. Yes. And I knew that's what you meant. I just wanted us to be clear for the audience. That's all. And I just quick clarification question. So you have this amazing opportunity in front of you to look deep inside because that one thing that they did annoyed you, and it's an opportunity, right? So you must have things that you advise your clients to do to help them face that. Is there anything that you can share about techniques to help people? Okay, they've looked in the mirror, they've accepted, they're working on accepting what they've seen in the mirror. So now what?
Okay, that's the phase when we start with affirmations.
Okay.
Consciously influence our subconscious. So then I start using affirmations and meditation, where we go, we imagine ourselves, we go into the meditation, and then you embrace your little child, and then you forgive. Forgiveness is very, very important for that. And okay. Working through it, that's when also the coaching comes into action, really with the right questions, taking away the perspective, blaming the other, but really go into yourself. And then that's exactly the point when we need to go back and find out where and what happened, and then it dissolves. And
then forgive, and then let go, and wait for the next thing that triggers you, and add it to the list.
Yeah.
It's fun. It is, though. It is fun. I'm teasing a little bit, but it's exciting, and there's so much that you learn about yourself that you didn't even think was possible, right? I mean, I don't think 10 years ago you thought you were going to be where you are today, right?
Definitely not at all. 10 years ago, no, I was also pretty unconscious also who I am and what my vision is. And even I think if I would have known my vision, I think I would not have stepped up to it and take it really also serious and value it. And of course, all the learnings. So my first long-term relationship and then marriage, looking back, now I know what my vision is and my requirements. And now I see, I would like to talk to the 20-year-old back then. And it's not the right fit, definitely not, because in the most important aspects, the non-negotiables, we didn't fit.
And you raise a good point, and I find this too in my journey is I should have done that. I wish I had known this, but I always come back to, but I had to go through it to be here now. Because if I didn't go through it, then I wouldn't know it now. Do you find that?
Yes, it's we all know that afterwards our parents were right. um, yeah, you have that's sadly the human character. We don't believe it until we go through it.
Yeah.
But then if we do the homework, then it's such a, then we don't do it again. Then we really get the message.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So, Brigitte, I have one last question for you, and then you can talk about your gift for the listeners today.
Mm-hmm.
But my last question is what is the one thing you'd like listeners to take away from your message today?
The one thing.
One thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think most important when you walk through life and you interact with other people, always remember that everything they do and say is either out of love or out of fear. And that works very well for me. And it's very simple. And every time someone maybe is aggressive to you, and remember, it might be fear. And that's when we talk about mentally healthy people. So that's super helpful. So then it brings up compassion. And then remember your own fear and don't be so strict with others. So everything, it's either out of love or out of fear. And I challenged this mantra the past 10 years and it really works. It's so true. And at the end of the day, the fear is also fear of not being loved. So all we need is love.
All we need is love. It's so true.
Beatles were right.
Parents were right.
Yeah.
So this has been a fabulous interview. I really appreciate you taking the time to think about different practical things ahead of time for the interview. Lots of nuggets and gems for people to sink their teeth into and to try out. So thank you so much. And then the explaining of the plasticity of the mind and that change can happen sooner than we think because the brain is that flexible. That's important to know.
Yes.
And then the big decisions and all that. So thank you so much for the interview today. It was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Giselle. I'm really honored and I love what you do. And I can tell it comes from the heart and to want to help as many people out there. And so I'm so happy to be part of this.
Well, thank you. So I think this is a great time to invite you to tell the listeners about your gift.
Yeah, so I'm happy to have the opportunity to give a gift. Also because it is really my goal to help as many people as possible. And so offering, I was thinking what could help the best. And when I look back on my own journey, having clarity about the vision and life purpose, that's such an important foundation. And I only found out around 40, at the age of 40. So I wish I would have known earlier. So my gift is, it's especially for singles who watch this, because that's also my expertise, right? So helping with topics of love and relationship, and especially singles. So I'm offering a 30-minute coaching session, totally for free with me, a one-to-one, no one else involved. And it's not at all, nothing to do with sales. So really a pure to get clarity on the vision and the purpose and patterns we have. And with that, attract exactly the person and the relationship that these women deserve. It needs a little bit of involvement and commitment, because before we go into the 30-minute session, so it's important to fill out a pretty in-depth questionnaire. So invest about maybe half an hour into a questionnaire, and then we will schedule a 30-minute session.
That's wonderful. And I just want to clear something up. You mentioned women, but I think you meant it for everybody, right? Men or women?
Yeah, of course, everybody can. Totally. Yeah, it's a human thing. It's not a gender thing. Yeah,
So don't be shy if there's a man out there who wants to do the questionnaire first and then, then talk to Brigitte. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I don't know how to find the freebie. Would you promote? How do people find?
So I will have it in the email that they will receive with your video. And my goal is also to have a picture of you on a website with the link to your free gift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I know, this is great. So I want to thank you again. And I want to thank the audience for coming today. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you've learned a lot of great things from Brigitte today. And I invite everyone to stay tuned for more interviews, more experts, all zeroing in on an aspect of facing your challenges to live the life of your dreams. There's a lot of good stuff out there, and so stay tuned. There's more to come. Thank you, everyone.